Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the next episode in our NORA Winners series. The NORA Winners series of shows is where we dig a little bit deeper into the backgrounds of the organisations who've been winners in the NORAs this year. This year we had an amazing array of finalists for the awards. In fact, let me just give you a quick peek on screen. So here are all our finalists for the NORAs this year. Spectacular lineup. And in amongst those, we had some phenomenal winners. So coming back to me here, our very special guest today is the operations director with one of our winners for best new website, best newcomer, best new website for the awards this year. This is our 21st year, as you can see over my shoulder. This is the 21st year of the NORAs, supported this year by Smart Recruiters, and we had the event at a brand new venue. The life and soul of the party, I have to say, were the people from our guest today. So without beating around the bush too much, let's bring to the screen Natasha South. Natasha, good afternoon. How the devil are you?
Hi.
It's good to see you. As I was saying there, your team were very much in the middle of all the celebrations on the night. And of course, when you come along to an event, an awards event like this, it is an achievement to get to be a finalist, but obviously it's great to be taking home a trophy in your hands. And your team really went to town on partying. Was it the first time that your team had been out this year, or was there a series of events that you've been out to already?
Yes, it's definitely the first awards ceremony that we've been out to this year. Obviously, we've lots of stuff didn't happen in 2020, so we always love a good award season, and I think we definitely missed it due to lockdown. But we've been lucky enough to be back in the office for basically since June this year. So we've managed to have a couple of nights out, but I think the added excitement of actually winning and that everyone was in really good spirits. We had a great night, so thank you. Thank you for putting it on.
The history of the NORAs is long and storied, and over the period of the past 21 years, we've had, I think, around about 500 companies who have been finalists and winners. Obviously, it's a long time, so that number is accumulated. But every company who is a finalist and a winner gets to be a member of the NORA Academy, which means that next year you get to vote in the Academy Award, which you'll be part of as well. But what I'd like to dig into with yourself is talking about your website and how Camino Partners came to be award worthy. So for people who are not so knowledgeable about the organization, can you tell us a little bit about the company and maybe your background as well?
Absolutely. So it's actually Camino's 10th birthday in January. Wow. So we've been going for obviously a decade now. The background of the business is basically focusing on those non-sales roles within the recruitment sector. So essentially it's recruiting the me's into all of the other recruitment businesses out there. So predominantly things like operations, HR, finance, learning and development, legal and compliance, all of those people that sit at the back of a recruitment business that actually are the ones that are running it on a day-to-day basis. So it was founded by Sachin Ruparelia, Matt Neiman and Alan McBride 10 years ago. Obviously, they spotted a niche in the market that actually it does take a special kind of person to work in the recruitment sector, particularly when you're looking at those non-sales roles. So things like finance is where we sort of built the business from originally before expanding into all of the non-sales roles. So as I said, we've been doing that for 10 years. Over the last couple of years, we've actually diversified, and part of the project as to when I launched the rebrand of Camino Partners was actually launching 2 brand new brands as well. So we launched Camino Search, which is specializing in finance and strategic hires into tech and tech-enabled businesses. And we've also got Camino Search, which is the opposite of Camino Search in that we are a rec-to-rec, but we are specializing in the American market. So at the moment, we're working sort of fully retained with high growth clients over in the US. So it's been this sort of all happened in the last 18 months during COVID. So it's been a busy 18 months to say the least. In terms of my background, I have also been in the recruitment sector for just over a decade. So I was a recruiter. I was a tech recruiter back in the day. So left university, went straight into recruitment, doing sort of, hardcore tech. Back in the day, moved into an operations role within the business that I was in before, built that business up to about 40 people. And then the opportunity to join Camino came along, and I've been there for just over 5 years now. So absolutely love the business. I'm really passionate about what we do, given the tie into, how much we champion my own peers within the recruitment sector. So that's a little bit if you guys don't know much about us.
So most people in recruitment will be aware of rec-to-rec companies, and right now you can't find new recruiters for love nor money almost, but are unaware that the scarcity or the hiring of people who have experience in the industry but are not recruiters, especially for those companies who are middle, large, and very large. They have huge operations. And of course, the UK recruitment sector, the UK professional agency sector, is the biggest in the world in terms of density of recruitment agencies and consultants. So when you mention it, you think, oh, yeah, there should be a company specializing in this, but totally unaware that there was, when you're hiring, as you say, those back office staff who are specialists in the field, who know the personalities working within this industry. So on that side of things, given your experience with Camino and the growth of Camino over the years, how have you seen the UK recruitment sector evolve? Because it's apart even from the last 18 months, it's been a very changeable decade.
Yeah, I think when I joined sort of 10 years ago, it was still on the cusp of it being heavily sort of sales driven. The recruitment sector didn't have the best reputation. And I think that's something that we as a business, our vision, our sort of brand vision, is that we're going to improve the people perception and performance of the recruitment sector. And even just over the 10 years that I've been in it, I've seen this really positive shift in everything from operating practices to cultures to flexibility, and obviously particularly over the last 18 months with COVID. But for me, it's all of those improvements to the recruitment sector as a whole. I think all the tech that has come out has been absolutely amazing. So in terms of how we can automate lots of things at the moment, I absolutely do not buy into the fact that tech will ever replace recruiters. I think it massively undersells what recruiters actually do. I also think things like the focus on diversity, about mental health, about all we're leading the way in so many of these really important cultural changes for everything within the economy, not just recruitment specific. So I think for me, it's about we still have those people who, when you say you work in recruitment, they're like, oof. And it's about educating people to be like, no, the sector has come so far, and we have a really important part to play in the economy, and particularly after everything that's happened with COVID. And I've only seen positive changes over the last 10 years, and I think we should all be excited about what's to come.
It's such an important part of the economy, and I think the REC often quote figures in the 30-40 billion, the level of importance that the sector is to the economy. And as you say, despite, or maybe because of the reputation that agencies might have had in the past decades, we are, and I speak as a former recruiter myself, leading the way in terms of walking the walk, and not just talking it, and things like diversity, things like having more active employer brands, and developing a culture of not only competition but support within organizations, so people, they feel like they belong, and all of those things. So in the past decade, we often see that the best small employer award for the NORAs is often packed with recruitment firms who are very conscious of themselves as employers in their own right, and of course employers not only of recruitment consultants, but the armies of back office team that are doing the very roles that you're involved in recruiting for. So the distinction between Camino and your traditional rec to rec is that side of things, although you're getting into the regular rec to rec. So in terms of development of the organization in the past 18 months, and the reason I'm asking this is to get to the whys and wheres of your website, but the development of the company in the past 18 months through the pandemic, how did that evolve through that?
So I think the pandemic is one of those things, isn't it? There's no one in the recruitment sector that's not going to say they were, absolutely battered by it. And so were we. As you can appreciate, we will have suffered the same way a lot of rec to recs would have, in that our clients are recruiters, their clients aren't hiring, our clients aren't hiring, they're definitely not hiring non-fee earners. And this was something that, for me, was like a bit of a personal hit to the stomach, in that every recruitment business was just getting rid of their back office. All of my peers, all of the people that do exactly what I do, everyone was being made redundant, because the first thing you do when you're not making money is you cut, your non-fee earners. And we were in this position, and it was genuinely heartbreaking to see this happen within the sector, that we knew that all of this talent was being let go. And actually, Sachin talks a lot about this issue, and that we've lost so much amazing talent from the sector because people have gone into what they deem to be more stable industries. So when this all started happening, we internally, thankfully had got these two other divisions that were still relatively stable. So as a business, we were able to keep growing and moving forward. But we really wanted to take a look at partners, and I guess really capitalize on our position within the sector, and what we could actually do. And part of that comes from the education piece around, particularly for those SME businesses, about understanding the value. And, our entire branding is around this phrase of championing the unsung heroes. These are the people that are absolutely 100% essential to your business. Like you can't grow if you don't have these foundations in place. And I understand that it was necessary to, for people to make tough decisions, but that was obviously a much higher proportion of people within my job roles than anything else. So when we sort of took a look at our own business and we looked internally, and we kind of thought, okay, I want to see this as an opportunity, and I want to see what we can do here, and how can we help the sector? How can we help the people, that have all just been made redundant, that don't necessarily know what the future holds for them? And we decided to take on this kind of huge project of completely rebranding Camino Partners, and then subsequently launching two other brands alongside that, so that we could separate out and just really focus on the vision of Camino Partners as a whole. And then this subsequently led to three very, very shiny new websites.
Fantastic. Well, who in the right mind would commission 3 websites at the same time? That's bananas.
I know. It's like I wasn't doing enough trying to run the business through whilst we were, at COVID and supporting 15 recruiters. We thought we'd throw that in there as well.
Recruitment companies, whilst they had, as we all know, a big dip as soon as the lockdown hit, fast-thinking, progressive agency owners and directors of the big agencies, they still had big businesses to run, and they still had obviously wages to pay, salaries to meet, and targets to hit. So very quickly they set about working out, right, what else can we do? What can we offer that's additional services aside from the regular recruitment? So if the number of vacancies being filled was going to go down, what additional services can we offer? And that might be outplacement. It might be, surveys of the business. It might be helping employers redesign job functions. It might be helping employers work out, well, how do we set about a plan for our staff working from home? And many recruitment consultants have gotten into that as a more broadly business consultants than just the core recruitment and putting bums on seats. And as an organization supporting those businesses, then those kinds of logistical staff that could help to make that happen, I can see that there would be a big need for what you're offering there.
Absolutely. And I think we've always considered ourselves consultants, particularly for the SME market. I always say this myself, because I personally will consult with a lot of our clients, for free. It's just, you're welcome to knock on my door whenever you need to, because the thing is, the majority of recruitment businesses are started by recruiters, and those recruiters are excellent salespeople, but they don't know what's involved in setting up an operational strategy or all of those things at the back.
Absolutely.
And it's often, what I usually say is, you can get to sort of 10 to 15 people without having an ops person, but then all of a sudden your growth is completely stunted. So for us, it was about making sure that we were still educating our clients on, like, look, we know you've had to make these tough decisions, but if you want to start, if you're going to capitalize, and we were all hoping there was going to be the bounce back that there has been. But I think a lot of businesses would have made the mistake of kind of just cutting and not having that foundation there ready to take that growth step. So for us, it was kind of going like, look, these are the things that you need to have in place if you're going to capitalize on the bounce back. But also just helping, we're really invested in the sector. Like, we genuinely care. Like, I don't care if it's not going to generate fees for the business. I just want to make sure that, the sector is doing well. And I think that has paid its dues on this bounce back, in that we have so many amazing clients and really good relationships with people that will always come to us.
Yeah. So in advising clients on that themselves, companies who are going through transformation and responding to the pandemic themselves, in that you determined that now is the right time to do the rebrand yourself, to develop websites that more accurately reflect what you're about. In the initial steps of considering that, and if we focus just on Camino Partners, what were the key elements that you needed to get in place before you started on the journey? What were the considerations?
Yeah, so I think we really took a look at our brand and how our brand had evolved over the last 10 years. But also look into the future and who we wanted to be in the future. And I think there were quite a lot of things that we decided to change because we were given the opportunity to do so. We dropped from sort of 27 people to 10 people, which meant that we were back at those building blocks. So we've always been a very value-driven business internally. But actually, we thought it was really important that we never really used to shout about that. We never really used to, from a brand perspective, talk about, why our values are so important to us and how it affects everything that we do. So I think the first thing is kind of deciding who we wanted to be in the future, what kind of business we wanted to grow to be, and then really working out how we were going to reflect that in a website. And for me, I didn't want a job board. I didn't just want a website that was there that people would come and apply for jobs. I wanted to create something that was content driven and that it was around, actually, you don't have to come to the Camino Partners website just because you're looking for a job. Actually, if you've got a question, we're the place that you come to. If you want to know how to do something, we're the place that you come to. And I wanted to, over the way that I see this evolving is that eventually I want it to be more of a community hub where every single person in my network and all of the clients that we work with know that they can come and they will, be able to get peer advice. They will be able to get, how-tos on anything that it is that they need to do non-sales. Because I think all of this ties into the idea that of, improving the perception of the people, the performance, all of these things are going to help businesses drive the sector forward. Yeah.
So the website is representing your brand. It's the hub, if you like, it's the online hub of your business, center of operations. But as you say, that community side of things, because you're so unique in the market that you're covering, then you're in a position where you can share knowledge and expertise and demonstrate your knowledge and expertise by sharing content, and that will bring people to even when they're not even remotely considering jobs elsewhere, but to learn more about the sector that they're in.
This is it.
For
We
the
want to
non-sales
promote
side
best
of recruitment.
practice.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is it's not just about I'm looking for a job or I'm looking to make a hire. It's like, actually, this is best practice because we've got 1,000 clients that we talk to on a week-to-week basis, and I'm constantly generating clients from all of your peers, people that you wouldn't necessarily know or chat to. And if you want to find out how a business that is this size does it, that's the kind of content that we create.
Yeah. In the NORAs, we always, I always give the guidelines to our judges to judge every website from a candidate's perspective, from a job seeker's perspective. If there's a job board that offers amazing value for money, we're not so interested in that. We're interested in the candidate experience, what's in it for the candidates, how well they can engage with the website, how they can find what they're looking for. And context is really important in everything, because candidates nominate the sites in the first place, and the judges will then work on who's going to be the finalists and who are going to be the winners. But at the core of everything, we want to know that you're addressing your audience rather than some generic audience out there, that you're specifically serving content that's going to be relevant to them. And what we saw on Camino was exactly that. Not only that, but it's a very human website. Sometimes people refer to the NORAs and they'll say, it's only big organizations like Hayes and Randstad and Manpower who are recognized. But we know that across the country, there are recruitment firms up to 20, 30, 40 staff who in any other industry would be regarded as very small businesses, but are huge generators of value for their clients and are really important in what they do. So when you're in that sector, you want to find a website that's going to deliver you information on the sector, that's going to give you contextual information that will keep you coming back, and also the people there appear to be approachable. So your website is quite distinctive in its styling and design. The look and the feel of it is very user friendly. How did you come about the design aspect of things, and what decisions did you make on that? Because, for example, we'll see the images of the people in the team as opposed to your regular photographs and so on. So how did you go through that process?
Yeah, so do you know what? I love the fact that that's the feedback that we get, that it is a people-driven site, and that we do come across in that way. Because actually, again, this came from us looking internally and kind of saying, okay, we've been stripped back as a business. Where is the value? And do you know what? The value is our people. Like, our people are the most incredible human beings. And I think that, to me, from a cultural perspective, was something that I really wanted to get across in the website, and I wanted it to feel human, and I wanted you to know each individual person. And we're massive on personal brand as a business, because I do genuinely believe that it's always going to be relationships first. Like always, but you build those relationships with a recruiter. It doesn't necessarily matter about the brand. It is about the individual human that's behind that. In terms of the imagery, I absolutely loved this. Now, we've been using, so we use the sort of the terminology, the unsung heroes, a lot internally. So it's something that we've banded around for years and years and years. We've never really done much with it. And when we sort of came to this place where we were really looking at what our brand meant, and we were working with Glenn Southam, so he came in and helped us do this sort of brand analysis, sort of understand who we were. And it's like, do you know what? We're fun. And at the moment, our brand does not reflect how fun we are as a business. And it was actually Sachin who was just like, do you know what? I love the heroes. Go for the heroes. And I was like, wow, like I can't believe, I never expected them to sort of get on board with what a very kooky, very quirky idea. And we basically were like, right, this is everything that we do. And, we could kind of talk about it and not 100%, commit to it, or we could go all out on this and really, really show you guys that you are heroes. use. And so this is where all of the ideas around the imagery, so all of like the pop art, the comic book style stuff, really fun, really sort of reflective of us internally, but also of how passionate we are about what these people do within the recruitment sector. So yeah, it was really fun getting all of these images together. I know we have mixed reviews on the cartoons of each of us. Some of our headshots are better than others when it comes to
is everyone happy with their headshots? So whenever people see, if I see a photograph of myself, I know the ones that I think look good and don't look good, but other people will disagree with me and say, no, you look great in that and not in that. So I suppose the headshots will be the same.
I don't know if some people's faces just don't translate very well into being cartoons, but I would not like to confirm or deny who that is individually. But I think in terms of the imagery of the website, it all looks amazing and it's all really fun.
Well, the image of you, for example, if you don't mind me saying, is exactly you. I think it looks fabulous. But what more than that, as you say, making the people in the team the heroes and putting their personal brand front and center is great. So, for example, when I look at, I'm looking at Molly Hogan's profile, for example, and we've got not only Molly explaining what she does, how she does it, what level of credibility she has in the industry, but straight away you can see the vacancies that she's working on. So you know that as a professional recruiter, these are the types of jobs that she's working on. So if you don't find the vacancy that you're after in searching through the jobs, you can tell that the types of recruiters, the types of staff looked for by Molly, she's the recruiter you want to be speaking with.
Exactly.
And it might be any of the others as well. So you know who to approach, and you can choose the recruiter that's best suited to not only your needs, but the sort of person you think you'd get along with.
This is it. And actually, this is really important for the structure of our business, in that all of our recruiters are sort of hyper niche specialists. So, not only do we as a business do, a really tight niche, each one of our consultants specializes in one part of that. So, if you are an FD or CFO in the recruitment sector, the likelihood is you probably know Molly. But if you don't, you know straight away who it is that you need to go to. And that's why personal brand is so important to us, because it is important that you have the credibility and that you really highlight your expertise, because that's something that we pride ourselves on, is the network that these guys have developed over however many years it is that they've been here. And I think they're in a position where they get to really understand the roles that they're recruiting through things like having, conversations with me in the business and sort of seeing, in real life what benefit these people have.
Yeah. One of the areas that I especially like on the site is the insights, where people are looking to know more about the industry, as well as, interview tips and career guidance and so on, but getting those kind of insights to what's going on in the industry, but where they're able to take the temperature of the marketplace, because the marketplace is right now in such flux. There's so much changing on such a regular basis, and as I mentioned earlier on, recruitment consultants themselves are in big demand, and I expect that back office staff are equally in demand. And for a lot of people in their career, that's an unusual position to be in, where they can not so much pick and choose, but they have more options than they had before, and they can weigh up what's important to them. So having a handle on the industry, what's going on, what their expectations could be, then that means that they're much more informed when they're coming to making decisions on what path they're going to take. And again, having those insights on the website is vital for that. So that really, keeping on top of that is really important and a real service.
Yeah, and we really, when I was sort of designing these pages, I think one of the things that I really wanted to do was particularly with the insights page, was really break it up into the different areas and kind of show, okay, if you're a job seeker and actually you want those tips on, you know, how to prepare for an interview and all of those things, then there's a section there for you, and you go to that section. And I think with the content that we do create, you know, everything is really, really specialist. So it's not just how to prepare for an interview. It's if you're a financial controller in a recruitment company, this is how you prepare for an interview. But I also wanted to have a bit that was dedicated to the clients. So, you know, particularly over COVID, we were talking about the how-tos, and it was like, actually, do you know what, if you've had to just if you've had to let go your back office function, well, then do you know what, I'm going to help you by actually, how do you do marketing on a shoestring budget? How do you set up these things from scratch? Because a lot of the time, you know, what's probably happened in a lot of businesses is the back office is gone, and that sort of responsibility has fallen onto the managing directors, the CEOs, the leaders. And you know what, if you want to know how to do these things from scratch, I'm going to pull together the industry and we're going to help you. But also, just like you said, general insights. So what's happening in the market? What's happening in the recruitment sector? How is COVID affecting it? And then also, because of the position that we're in and the work we have access to lots of different businesses. I work with suppliers as well. So we have our preferred supplier list, where it's like, do you know what, we create content together, and there's sort of a section on there that's like, okay, so if there is,
that's good.
If it's so Volcanic, obviously, who we work with, we create content with around like why your website is so important. During COVID, we were working with a business whose whole platform was on remote onboarding. So sort of giving people access to little tips and suppliers that might be useful to them to help them through this period as well. So this is what I say when it's a hub, is it's not just about, I've got a job interview next week. It'd be good to get a few tips on how to do that. It's this is my job day to day. This is where I could go to educate and inform.
And in a market that is changing regularly, and people are on a more regular basis considering, well, am I staying? Am I going? Am I looking elsewhere? Am I aware of what's going on in the market? Then it's all the more important to be switched on to that. And again, I can see that your website is your base of operations for your marketing plan, going through all your channels. So in terms of the coming year, I just noticed where we're up to time-wise. In terms of the coming year, what are your future plans with the development of the website in the next few months or the next 12 months?
Absolutely. So we are in the process at the moment. We have our resource portal, which is actually going to be for both candidates and the clients, which is more around sort of downloadable documents that they can use. So templates for stuff, or things like job specs. If you've never hired an operations person into your business and you're not sure whether you need them, you're not sure what you need for marketing, we've got sort of job specs on there where you can download a sort of a basic level job spec to kind of go through, brand it yourself if you want to, or we can sort of create more detailed job specs for you. Things like salary benchmarking. So if you're a candidate and actually you want to know what the most, last 10 financial control placements we've made, what size business, the kind of job, the salary banding for that. The next sort of the big thing for us next year, my sort of overall marketing campaign is we're going to be sort of launching the Unsung Heroes Awards, essentially. So I'm going to have a part on the website where every recruitment business out there can nominate the people that are in their non-sales within their business. And we are going to select a person each month who we're going to do a sort of a profile on. They're going to sort of, get some nice prizes, lots of marketing around them, and really just highlighting the impact that these people are making on the business that they're in. So it's amazing for them to get the recognition because, like I said, the nominations are going to be coming in from the sector. It's, there is no one doing this at the moment. Obviously, there are lots of awards that are like, it's support person, but actually we're going to go, do you know what? Who's the best marketing exec? Who's the best compliance person? Who's really, really making an impact on your business? And we just want to show everyone like how amazing these people are. So that's the next development to my website for next year. So we're going to be sort of having all of those profiles. I'm sort of really digging into each individual role within your sort of typical recruitment back office.
Yeah. And each of these roles are vital within the organizations that they're part of, and they might not get the kudos that the recruitment consultant gets, but absolutely essential nonetheless. So that's great. It's good to hear. Tasha, we've run out of time, but I have to say thank you very much for coming on as my guest, and congratulations again for Camino being very deserved winners this year, and making the event, being such a big part of the event as well. It was great to see you and your team there. Thank you everyone who's joined us this afternoon. It's been great to join us. Anyone who's watching us live on Crowdcast or on replay afterwards, or of course anyone who's been watching us live on any of the other social media streams that are going out too. Thank you very much for joining us. We have another show lined up tomorrow, although there's a degree of doubt over that. There's our guest for tomorrow has had a positive test this morning, so may or may not be feeling up to it. So we might have to rearrange that. But I know that we have more shows coming up next week with the BBC and with read.co.uk, and the remainder of our NORA Winners we're going to be having scheduled in the coming weeks before Christmas as well. So thank you, Tasha. Thank you, everyone who's joined us, and I'll say good afternoon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.